All right. Any questions about that chunk, the whole research-based curriculum, and why that's important? Where do you think your schools? Here's what happened in most of the pilot schools. One of the first things we do is we get together. We have to get baseline data. What's going on? And we have many faculty meetings where all the first grade teachers get together, and then all the second, and we talk about what are you doing to provide reading instruction. What do you think the outcome was? All over the board. What do you think it is in the schools where you work? Do you think it's over the board, or do you think that everyone is hitting those 5 big ideas in an explicit and systematic fashion? So we have one principle. How do you know? Is that part of your role?
That's part of my role.
Yeah.
Look at that.
One of the principals that I worked with was a math teacher before she became a building principal. And when she entered into this project, she realized, I don't know anything, these are her words, I don't know anything about reading instruction. So she became a literacy expert. And now she's like you. She says it is her role to be sure that that's happening in every one of her classrooms. And it's part of her, when she goes into classrooms to do supervision. She's looking for evidence of those 5 areas at different levels depending on the grade. What about your experiences with places where you work?
Since we are so data-driven, what percentage of the classroom, what should the percentage be that the children should be able to read? I'm thinking, I don't know. What?
I got multiple answers. Here's my first one, 100%.
I know, but...
Okay, well, let's just throw that one out. Our goal, it should be 100% of our kids. Okay, given that that's not probably going to happen, that's what we're shooting for. So all our hard work is shooting towards 100%. The researchers, this guy Reed Lyon, for example, who headed up the National Institute of Health and oversaw all this research over the 20 years, he indicated that he felt after reviewing everything that a logical, again, would be 3% of our population would be our kids who end up getting more intensive work if we could get all these other things humming. Now that's what he said based on this. Now here's the reality. I was just reviewing the data from one of our sites this week. I can't give you a percentage though because I don't know the full number, but 30 kids of third grade, 3 classes. Let's assume 20 kids in a class. So that's 60 kids. Is that right? 2 for 6? Yeah. Okay. I was looking at the data at the beginning of the year last year. 30 of those kids, so that's half, did not meet the September benchmark for reading fluency. And so they entered into a progress monitoring mode. And at the end of the year, 27 of them had met it. So that leaves 3 of the 60% that didn't meet the end of the year progress monitoring. So whatever that turns out to be in terms of percentages. But there's a take-home message there. Another take-home message is that once these kids were identified at risk, and the fact that they were progress monitored means that the teacher was doing something different with them and checking to see if it was working. The overwhelming majority of those kids were on grade level by the end of the year, and only 3 of them were not out of 60.
Right.
So, yeah, how many should not be reading where they I don't know that. So, Reed Lyon on me said 3%.
Provincial target is 90%.
It's 90. Well, you know what the U.S. target is? 100. Yeah. So, you folks are obviously more realistic, but I like the goal of 100 because it gives us. We're going to work towards that. We're not giving up on anybody.